Hey, Anton.
Yeah, Margaret?
You know people don't talk about enough?
What?
Felice really comes into her own this episode. Welcome to People Who Don't Talk About Young Royals. I'm Margaret. My pronouns are they, them.
And I'm Anton. My pronouns are he, they.
And we're people here to discuss the show our friends are sick of hearing us talk about.
If that sounds like you, stick around. If your friends sent you this podcast out of a desperate attempt to get you to watch Young Royals, take this as a sign.
Go watch Young Royals, then come back to this podcast.
Margaret, what are we talking about today?
Today we'll be having a character discussion of Felice in Season 1, Episode 5, having decided we have no choice but to stand.
Woohoo! In this discussion, we won't be summarizing the plot of the episode because we already did that. If you need to want a refresher, head back 8 episodes on our feed to our most recent This Week at Alershka for a full breakdown. This episode discussion will likely be all over the place, so strap in. You have been warned.
It's the first time we're standing Felice.
It is! I was about to say that. Woohoo!
Yay, Felice.
Real, full-throated woohoo this episode. I mean, eagle-eared listeners probably heard it last cycle of being like, if she does this thing, she'll get a standing from me.
Yeah, and that one thing was breaking up with August. And she did that.
She did it.
This is called growth. This is called learning.
This is called learning. This is called everything we've been saying, which is like finding a sense of I don't have to put up with this bullshit.
Yeah. I
mean, it's kind of across the board. Like, this is an episode of just, like, consistent Felice W's, in my opinion.
I agree. I think we'd be clinically wrong. I don't know why I said clinically there. We would be wrong to have this be anything other than standing.
Yeah. I mean, she gets out of her relationship with August. She resists her mom, the pressure that her mom is putting on her. Finally, like we don't really have a sense of how long this has been building up, but I get the sense that it's been a while.
I mean, presumably it's probably been her whole life, if we're being completely honest with ourselves.
Right. Yeah. Like, yeah. So I guess, yeah, Sumi-san doesn't really seem the kind of person to like turn on the pressure at a certain age. Like it's
no, it was probably from birth. Like, why haven't you started speaking yet?
Yeah, been for 16 years.
Yeah.
And then culminates in that bit of rebellion of giving Lucia to Sarah.
Yeah. Which, what a fucking moment.
Yeah. We've mentioned it before, but it's like, it is so easy to forget on repeated viewings how big that moment is. For me, at least.
I was going to say, I think I might disagree because every time it's a baller reveal.
No, that's fair.
But I can see where you're coming from, where you're just like, oh yeah, and then Sarah is, I almost said Sarah is Felice, but Sarah is Lucia.
Yeah, Sarah's Lucia. Like it, I don't know. For me, it still is very impactful for me, but it does fall along in the lines of, I know the beats of the first season.
That's fair.
Well enough that you're like, okay, this happens and this happens. But
that is fair.
It still is. It is a moment of selflessness that, like, there is selflessness in that act. At the same time, there is like a sense of self-worth in the breaking up with August. So it's like you really got this balance across the board.
Yeah. I do think that you also see self-worth in giving Lucia to Sarah because you also just like, I don't want this, so I don't have to do it when I know somebody else who wants it.
No, that's fair. Yeah, that's an angle I wasn't immediately considering, but you're totally right. Yeah, like a recognizing of autonomy, of being like, well, everyone around me has kind of like the whole episode is essentially like, everyone around Felice is just kind of assuming and like expecting her, pushing their own expectations on her of like just like pigeonholing her into this role.
Right.
And that moment of like, yeah, I don't want to do this, so I'm not going to, is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I do. And I don't know if this is a character episode discussion, but I do want to talk a little bit, and maybe this is something that we like spell out more in like Privilege Punishment. I got the name right that time. And the fact that she didn't submit her name to be Lucia and everybody voted for her anyways.
Yeah.
It's an interesting little tidbit about expectation of things.
No, definitely. I mean, I think it does contextualize her character more. Like, we've gotten enough little tidbits that we understand who Felice is by episode 5. But it is this added detail of, it really is like a detail of like, I like in my head, I'm like, Felice, I mean, based on the pressure mom was putting in her, probably did start this popularity with some momentum. But like, with how status and wealth obsessed Hilarska is, it is curious to see like how much did everyone else could kind of like let the ball keep rolling.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, we've joked in the past of like August being a like mean girl, like Regina George type, but like that is based on stereotypes of the teen drama, that is meant to be Felice's role. Right. And the ways in which Felice comes into her own in this episode in a way that does ask, like, who are the people who have power here? And, like, do all of them, want it? Like, it is an interesting question to me of wondering how we go from in the first episode just this person who's like struggling and like is just really does seem to be mean out of just the stress of being who she is. And I think it really does align with themes that we see Wilhelm tapping into as well.
Yeah.
Where we like, I don't know. I do want to I do want to document this like turn to standing and fully how we got there.
Yeah, well, I think the difference is, I mean, we joked that it was like, if you break up with August, we'll stand you. But I think the difference is, instead of being sort of like, I don't want to say complacent, but almost I think this first role episode that we her called mom has Felice put her into.
Felice the complicit. The only time he's ever assassinated her, yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. Then she is complicit. Yeah. Instead of her being complicit in this role that her mom has pushed her into and raised her to be in, she's like, that's not me. That's not who I want to be. That's not the kind of person I want to be. And she's not like, disowning her parents by any means, but she's standing up for herself.
Yeah.
And she's being a better friend, and she's doing things not because it'll make her mom happy, but because it'll make her happy.
I think Yeah. I think truly Felice is learning lessons at a rate that, again, you said, we literally cannot help but stand. Not like it's a race, and not like I want to be mean and compare characters to each other. But if we are going to,
but are you about to compare characters?
No one else is doing it like Felice, in terms of recognizing the ways in which they are being like harmful to others and disengaging from that behavior.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think she may have had one of the like most complete character arcs.
Yeah.
In the first.
Yeah.
Are we on 5?
She has a lot of movement. And it does make her. I mean, it's one of my favorite aspects to watch in season 1 reactions. Is the way that, like, without fail, everyone starts out disliking Felice because it's like she seems mean for no reason, and then you not only get a reason, which is like
right,
because that's what we gotten for August, and that is not. I mean, August just keeps getting worse too. But it's like with Felice, we get a reason, and then we get self-reflection. Bonkers. Utterly bonkers. Yeah.
August could never. Yeah. I think I agree. I also think in some ways she's become the most self-aware character.
Yeah.
And not to say like nobody else in this show is self-aware, because I think everybody besides maybe August is.
I mean, I think August self-awareness just makes him more.
Well, okay, yeah, I guess self-aware in a way that like makes you a better person.
Right, yeah. No. If that makes sense, but that, yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Do you know what I mean though?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Felice realized like she's become self-aware and she's made herself into a better person. Wilhelm becomes self-aware, unfortunately, after saying things that are maybe not the greatest, but he realizes he fucked up, and now he's like trying to make it right.
And similar with Simon, as we covered a couple weeks ago.
Yes. He was my next.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna leave him out. Don't you worry.
No, yeah, you're good. No, yeah, but it's Felice is unique in the show among our core 5.
Mm-hmm.
For someone who. There are things that definitely prompt her to change. Like she has made decisions that have severely backfired on her.
Oh yeah.
But it is in the ways that she has handled those decisions at every turn that make her fully like uncomplicated, worthy of standing this episode.
Yeah.
Because it's like, kisses Wilhelm is not... It, like, does not respond to... Like, we've been through it before. Does not respond to that rejection in the healthiest way, but also does not in any way antagonize Wilhelm.
Correct.
For not being into that situation. So...
Yeah.
Yeah. And
like, there's a significantly worse version of her character that would do that.
Yeah, and then now we get a moment of like a lot of the stuff she begins the season with, and a lot of the stuff we keep confronting her with is romantic stuff, where now her relationship with August blows up in her face in a way that, yes, to be fair, the audience could predict, but we've been over this. Like we're I am fully willing to understand the short-sightedness of not.
She also doesn't have all the information we did.
Exactly. And so, but then you take that information, and you turn it into a level of reflection that I think really does, a lot of it gets addressed, I think, through Nikita's acting, because Felice doesn't have an outsized presence in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you get enough details of her to understand that, like, this does seem to turn into a self-reflection in the end of what am I doing in the first place?
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, once August
100%.
Like, once August is gone, like, we've talked about August being, like, really Felice's last, or, like, most, like, I guess most recent. We didn't know it was the last until, like, this episode, but in hindsight, like, this less, like, grasping onto what her mom was talking about. And I think it is crucial that we get her resisting her mom's expectations in the same episode that she breaks up with August, because one does feel at least partially consequential of the other.
Right.
Like, I don't think that scene of her saying, like, no to the dress happens if she's still dating August.
No, I also think it has less of an impact if it was, like, if there were, say, 7 episodes in this season, and those were, like, 2 separate episodes where, like, she breaks up with August, then she says no to the dress. I feel like the dress would feel sort of like, okay.
Right.
But because it's in the same episode, I feel like it has more of an impact.
No, definitely. I mean, they are, it's not terribly close to each other, but they are, like,
it does feel kind of back to back.
Yeah, like, it is kind of like the next time we really check in with Felice.
Yeah.
So, like, and if we're following her, like, her storyline in this episode, it does feel like it's like one thing did happen, and then it percolates from there. You got anything else?
I don't know. I feel like we kind of killed it.
Yeah. I think the dissection of, I mean, this is a long time coming too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
The real question of how did Felice become this person is, like, every episode up until this point. So I think.
Oh yeah, it's been in the works for a minute. We've just finally finished the job.
Right.
And by we, I mean Felice.
Yes. Yeah. And I guess
we did nothing. We sat on our couch.
Right. And I guess in fairness, become a good person is a bit of a reductive way of putting it. But
right. She's become her own good person.
Yeah. She's become just her own person. Full stop. Like recognizing.
And I love this new Felice.
Yeah, recognizing, like, I know what I want to do, and this and like this isn't it. So
yeah,
very cool.
Now, when can we mix Wilhelm Felice besties with new Felice?
You know, those of us.
That's what I want.
Those of us who've seen the show.
Well.
No, the answer.
Spoiler. Now who's spoiling?
I'm not
now
saying anything.
Fucking spoiling?
I'm not saying anything.
I get shit for being the one who spoils all the time, and I'll look at you.
You've been really good.
3 comes out.
You've been.
I know.
Really
I've been on my best goddamn behavior. I've been on my best behavior for a minute.
For a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A whole 60 seconds.
Would you like to take us out,
That's all you
Margaret?
get. I would love to. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to keep up to date with when we release new episodes and other pod-related announcements, you can check out our Instagram or our threads at People Don't Talk About. Our next episode will be character standing for Sarah, so stay tuned. And with that, all that's left to say is...
Let's start a revolution, baby.